Sorry, Kristen.
That's
yeah, either
okay.
way. All right. Yeah, lots of people do know what they want to do. Some students that I spoke to at Ben Salem High School communications classes, they said when we asked them, what do you want to be when you grow up? Here's how they answered. It's our last minute thing.
See you guys tomorrow.
When I grow up, I want to be on Good Day Philadelphia because I've always had a dream for being on TV.
When I grow up, I want to work in the Good Day studio to bring you the best quality news.
When we grow up, we want to be the traffic report ladies. Ladies!
When I grow up, I want to be a news anchor on Good Day Philadelphia, just like Kerri Lee.
Yeah.
Can you check that shot?
Your hair reminds me. Remember Kelly Clarkson when she...
Before, watch it.
Oh, you didn't? Oh, do you guys remember American Idol, Kelly Clarkson? She used to wear hair like that. Very cute.
Okay, thanks.
Very cool.
I have a lot of questions for you, but everyone else has questions too, and I don't want to take up all your time. But the one thing, I anchor all the time.
Yes.
And I've gotten complaints a lot that I'm too sarcastic and like people don't really like my personality on there. Do you ever feel like as if like you can't really be yourself because like you're being held down? Like you can't really like express your opinion on things?
Yeah, sure. Absolutely. I think, and this is one of the hardest things to do, is find yourself in this business. There are rules. There's the FCC that says you can say this and you can't say that. So you're always living within that guideline. But I think as well, you have to really be true to who you are. I think we all, as we go through the business, think, oh, I'll try this because it worked for Barbara Walters, or I'll try this because it worked for Katie Couric. But at the end of the day, it's just Wanda pretending to be Katie Couric. So I think you have to really figure out who you are and who you want to portray. And yeah, I mean, believe me, there are thoughts going through my head that I can't say on TV or words that we can't say. So even though that may be part of who I am, I'm still conscious of the fact that, well, that part can't come out. You know, you really do have to play within the rules. But at the same time, I think you really have to be yourself. And I remember people giving me that advice, and I thought, okay, what does that mean? And then you spend years trying to figure out what works for you and what doesn't. The best thing to do, the best thing in the whole wide world to do, is to look at your tape and decide what you like about you and what you don't like about you. And when you hear that criticism, decide what you're going to listen to and what you're not. Because while one person thinks you're sarcastic, someone else thinks you're hilarious. And you might think that there's something maybe in between that's a happy medium. So you just have to figure out what that is, and that takes years, and don't expect that to come right away. I think you also have to be willing to experiment and try different things and see what works. And so it's really just...
It's tough sometimes.
Oh, it's tough all the time.
You got
all
that
the
right.
time. Try doing it in front of a huge city like Philadelphia and having them email, don't say this again, or do this again, or we loved when you wear this.
I get it this
We get it every day. Oh, yeah. So multiply that. That will never go away. For everyone that likes you, someone else is not going to dig your stick.
5 people that don't.
Yeah, and it's tough.
Really? I don't know.
Well, but at the same time, you still have to be Wanda, you know, and there'll be a channel or a program or something that likes what you do. So be yourself, you know.
Because I like how I am on camera. I don't care if people don't.
Right, right. And you know, you might have to think, okay, do I want to keep up what I'm doing and not get jobs, or do I want to change a little bit just to make people happy, even though it's not totally me? I mean, it's a business, you know. You have to kind of just strike that happy medium.
Because I love it.
It's fun, yeah.
I love it.
Yeah.
What
do you love about it?
I don't know.
Wanda does a lot of the, she does a weather segment with Chris where they sort of, what they do with the weather segment.
Yeah.
We sort of adapted what Sue Stereo does to a little bit more, and we'll let you see it a little.
Oh, yeah.
But
me and Chris actually did the show today. We're going to show you the thing.
Oh, really? Oh, you guys have already done your show?
Yeah.
Okay.
We do a morning show, and then second period edit a half-hour news show that we send out to the community.
Right,
So
okay.
first period preps for the morning show, second period does that.
Ah.
Wanda and Chris are always doing. They do basically humorous little skits.
Oh,
that,
fun.
Mike goes in, and this guy right here edits. He'll edit.
He's the mastermind behind it.
Which one? You're the editor too? Okay, great.
He usually comes in and has about 20 minutes to get it done.
Ooh, deadline, yep.
Right on the, and there's sometimes that we come in and the show's going and Mike runs the tape in and boom, we have weather. And sometimes we don't get it.
Right.
But it's a lot of ad-libbing, it's a lot of...
Like we do skits
good skill to learn, ad-libbing.
Like we do like all different stuff.
Really?
Yeah.
Now, do you find ad-libbing hard? Because that's probably the hardest thing about the business.
I think it's really easy, actually.
Really?
Thinking on my feet, I'm good at that.
Do you do theater or anything like that?
I did last year. He was my teacher last year, actually.
Ah, I was going to say, I could see you being good on stage.
Before that, I was really quiet, like I didn't really talk to people.
Yeah.
But through that, like I learned...
I can't imagine you being quiet. I don't know you well, but I can't imagine you being quiet. That's good. But that's good. I mean, gosh, you're not going to be quiet if you're in this business. And, you know, one thing that people don't think about is, take this stage, for example. All right, when I was covering, say, the inauguration in D.C., it's me here with this camera, then you've got CNN next to you, Fox News Channel, you've got 12 people in a big row. And they're not always doing live shots when you are. So they're listening to what you're saying. So you had better be used to performing, because it's pretty nerve-wracking. I mean, with that, you better be right too. You're very accountable, and you know, viewers at home can't see that I'm standing there with all these people in the profession that I really admire watching me do my live shot. So that's good. Being on stage and getting any practice like that, and liking being there is a good thing.
I don't know. I just love it. I can't really say much more.
Good. Keep that enthusiasm.
I don't want to take up everyone's time, so I guess.
Go ahead, Mike.
Mike, thank you.
Thank you.
How's the day in your life? Just go through a day in Kerri Lee's life.
Now with this job?
Yeah.
Okay. Getting up at 3. I just got a puppy, a Great Dane, so I have to take her out. 3 in the morning, believe me, it's not fun with all the snow on the ground. And then I take even though I only live about 8 blocks from the station, which is an old city. Do you guys get into Philly very much? So it's an old city. I live a few blocks away from that, but I take a cab. I would walk even though it's close, but just for safety reasons that early. Take a cab into work, but before that, I've already turned on World News Now. If you're ever up in the middle of the night, which you probably shouldn't be, but if you are, do you watch World News Now?
I do the same thing.
Yeah.
I just get up and watch, and they just talk about the same thing over and over again.
Over and over, yeah.
Then you wake up in the morning and they're still talking about it.
Yeah, you got us pegged. But I watch World News. You know, I try and find out what the news is. Then I have the cab driver turn on to KYW radio. So I've gotten a bit of an idea of what the news is. Newspapers aren't delivered that early, so I haven't looked at the newspaper yet. But I get into the station, and then I'm all over the internet, looking at CNN.com and looking at the wires and finding out what's going on, looking at our rundown. Do you guys have rundowns? Probably not. You probably don't have to.
And that's basically all for, like, if you need to ad-lib something.
Yeah, this is just, I need to go up there knowing a little bit about everything. Because here's what we'll get at the worst time. Do you guys know what this means? Stretch. And you're thinking, whoa, this is a bad time to stretch. I don't know the story. Exactly. Right, because these guys are in the field and maybe something strange has happened. Their shot's gone down. Their live truck mast is crashing. Whatever it is, we'll get stretch. And it doesn't matter. It's almost like, you know, musical chairs. Like you don't know when the music's going to stop and you're going to miss a chair. You don't know when the show's going to stop and you're going to have to talk. So you had better get up there and know a little bit about everything. So I go through the rundown, make sure I'm familiar with the stories, make sure I know the updates to the different stories. So this is all pre-prep before I've even gone and spoken to the producers. So I'm at my desk, type, reading all that. Go talk to the producers, hey, what's going on? Then they'll say, well, we've got this segment, this segment, this segment. By now it's probably about 5:30, so I'm an hour away from going on. And I'll say, oh, great, so we have this guest, I need to know this, or I need to know that, you know, what's going on. So we have that chat, and then I write the opens to the show. Like, you know, when the music comes on, good day, Philly, you know, that part. The chunk before that is what I write, which is, hey, we're going to have this, we're going to have this, and then I try and end it with a funny line. Whatever the last story was, I try and put in some stupid line. And they're stupid. My jokes are so corny. But, so I do that, and then I read the show, and then do hair and makeup, which is the worst part of this, because I don't know how to do hair and makeup. I mean, you know, I was a tomboy growing up. I just didn't know stuff like that. So have to do that, and I hate that part of this job. It's times like that that I wish I was in radio, because you don't have to care. But hair and makeup, and then I go down to the studio, and it's just time to sort of have fun. And so then the show starts, and we go through the show, and anything can happen. I mean, did you guys see the horse rescue about a week ago?
Yeah.
From the horse, I mean, suddenly you're being told, okay, for the next hour and 45 minutes, talk about a horse. You know, and we're like, okay, 1 hour and 45 minutes, one subject, let's go. But that becomes fun, because that's a huge challenge. So, and that was an emotional story, because I'm a huge animal lover, and so I'm watching thinking, oh, I don't want to be seeing this, but you have to do your job and anchor. So whatever the show brings you, you go through, and then after the show we have a news meeting, like a post-mortem, where we discuss this really didn't work, or this was really great, or hey, what was our rating yesterday, or, you know, whatever. We plan the next day. And then after that, I have a shoot like this, or I'm editing something that I shot, or preparing for the next day. Or
Do you like going out on the field more?
Love it, yes. Because until this job, I was a reporter, a regular reporter, as well as an anchor. Just because of the nature of this job, and because I'm anchoring for almost 3 hours a day, I mean, half your shift is taken up during that time. So sometimes they'll send me out and do a story, but it's not general news anymore like it used to be. So I do miss that a little bit. Like I do miss being by the breaking news or by the big story of the day. It's strange. I cover big stories now in a different way.
Right.
So anyway, yeah, and then, you know, I wander out anywhere between, some days are earlier than others, and then go home and nap. Nap time is the best. Well, I try and have a bit of a normal life. So because my schedule's so crazy, I try and nap from, like, say, 1 to 4, and then I'm up in the evening, and then go back to bed around 11 to 3. And then it's time to get up again and do it all over the place. Yeah, yeah.
Do you have any aspirations for...
Kerri Lee,
Yeah.
you have a meeting after every show.
Yes. Are they?
We have meetings.
Yeah, before
You do
the
too?
show.
We don't like meetings before.
Oh, I hate them.
We have a meeting at the beginning of the class. We go over different video things that we're going to cover, different features. And then we have a quick meeting afterwards where it's actually pretty neat. I'll show you the clipboard, but they have state writing standards right now.
Ah.
And what they're doing is they want kids to focus on focus, content, organization, style, and conventions.
Okay.
So we adapted them to the show, and we actually have students who grade the show.
Oh,
Okay, you
wow.
got a 4 in focus, but your content was a little off. Your organization, we had them, you know, sometimes when we cue it, the blue screen comes up
Yeah.
first. So, and we are working with old equipment, but they basically grade each
Hey,
other.
viewer, right? Yeah. Good stuff. You must be a football player or something. Yeah, I was going to say.
Do you have any set schedule, and if so, like, do they kind of work around like your social life with your family and your friends, and how do you go about that?
That's a good question, especially because a schedule like morning show is really tough. And I don't have any now. Saturday night, which I'm off on weekends, but Saturday night, I'm all packed, ready to go skiing, loading the dog in the car, getting ready to go, car running outside, the phone rings. And I thought, oh, I'll answer that. It's probably one of my friends saying, oh, can you bring us such and such? Nope, it was work saying, the weekend anchor has called in sick, we need you to come in. And I'm thinking, oh, but we're in a sweeps period, so I really couldn't say no. And you have to, I mean, there are times you have to just kind of suck it up and do it. So you have to be flexible too. But at the same time, Greg is definitely right. I mean, if there are things that you need to do, a doctor's appointment you just can't get any other time, and you're going to be leaving a little early, absolutely, they'll accommodate you. I think it's a real give and take. You're going to be putting in so many extra hours that they know that. And you're not going to be paid for them necessarily. I'm salary, so extra hours are all on me. So there's give and take. You know, I give a little bit extra, and then I can ask for favors every now and then. So there's flexibility.
As a news anchor, do you have time for family and friends, or it's really time to, like, how do you manage your time with that?
It's pretty time-consuming. It really is. Because when I'm off, I'm trying to get sleep or I'm catching up on the news. The other thing is your job is pretty social. You're meeting people all the time. You're getting to do some great things. Part of my job is to go do appearances and functions, and so I'm surrounded by people, and so you still do have a sense of social life and gatherings and that sort of thing. But, you know, I'm not going to lie, it can be tough. And not everyone understands it, you know, especially when it comes to, you know, close friends or a dating situation. Not everyone quite understands how you can't, you know, keep your dinner plans because you have to go in and do breaking news. So it's a weird lifestyle, no question about it.
Thank you.
I'll probably get a couple chuckles out of the class on this question. But if I were to ask these guys, what is the #1 thing that they need to know in this industry? What is the #1 thing they need to do in this industry? What is the #1 thing that they always have to do? Is it networking?
Absolutely. Which is why I say get an internship. You need to be mixing and mingling with people who are doing it, who have connections, who can help you, who will teach you. Is that what you mean by networking?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, you definitely. And I would be so surprised if anyone called me and said, I'm you know, a student at Ben Salem High, I've got some questions about the business, I would definitely sit there and chat with you. I don't know. That is a good point to make. Absolutely. In fact, you guys really need to remember that as you're networking, don't think for a minute that they're not going to remember who you are. You could end up working with them. I've even had, I remember in college, there was an instructor who was an anchor on the new news and also an instructor at my college. Well, since then, I mean, it's weird because suddenly, you know, he got fired and he wasn't teaching at school anymore. He's calling me asking about an opening we have for Good Day, and it just was strange. You just never know. I mean, our managing editor was an intern at a station that Sue Serio, Bill Vargas, and Christian, I think, all worked at. Someone else. Yeah, so there you go. Hey, be nice to everybody. It is a small business.